Welcome everybody to American Elite Racing, brought to you by KSKM 51 Broadcasting, bringing you Monday Night Truck Series playoff round of 12. Race number 1 will be in the books tonight. If we have a great race here at Dover, Concrete Mile will bring us a great bit of action here. The 12 drivers facing off to go to the round of 2 will be lined out in lime green on the tower and on the top of the screen whenever you see it coming across. Those drivers will have a lime green square next to their name. That will signify that they are a playoff driver. So get ready for the action here. We'll get everything set up and ready to go. We'll take a look at the standings real quick just so you know exactly who those 12 drivers are. Let me get this fixed. There we go. Now you guys can see everything here. So the 12 drivers is going to be Nick Gowan, who won the regular season with 5 wins this season. Jared Mogart, who won the season finale race. The regular season finale race was Jared Mogart with 5 wins as well. Our 2 winningest drivers right there, first and second. Jason Fensler going to be sitting third in the 5 truck with 2 wins. Jeremiah Nelson jumps from the last truck into the playoffs all the way up to 4th in the playoff drivers because of that 1 win that he got at Talladega earlier this season. Jamie Haynes has been riding in the 4th spot pretty much all season and is going to be sitting 5th now because of Jeremiah Nelson's win, jumping him from 12th all the way to 4th. Austin Greer going to start out 6th in the playoff standings. Stan Carnathan 7th, Charles Mosley 8th. The 4 drivers competing to get back up into the top 8 that will move into the round of 8 will be Jeff No, Mike Miller in that 15 Toyota Terra D, Dylan Pickleswimmer in the 38, and James Ledford in the 8. Those 4 drivers will need to get as many points as possible through this first round of 2 races to move on to the second round of the playoffs. We'll go into looking at the starting grid here in just a second. As I switch screens to the live screen, we'll pull up that starting grid and we'll get to looking at who got the pole tonight. And the poll's going to go to none other than your regular season champ, and that is Nick Gowan in the 31. He's going to be starting on the poll. Jason Fensler, who is third in this playoff hunt, is going to start second tonight. Mike Miller in the 15 is going to start on the top three tonight after his first top three of the season last week and the regular season finale. Stan Carnathan starting his playoff hunt on a strong note, starting fourth tonight. Jared Maugard second in the points at the end of the regular season, winning the last race of the regular season, is going to start fifth. James Ledford sixth. Mike Carter in the 2 will start seventh. Jeff No, Mr. Stout Whiskey in that Winn-Dixie paint scheme 55 will be starting eighth. Charles Mosley Jr. ninth. Dylan Pickleson will be 10th. Ethan Greek 11th. Jeremiah Nelson 4th in the points right now will start 11th. 12th, sorry. Austin Greer in that 45 Toyota will be starting 13th. Jeff Taylor 14th. Jamie Haynes going to need a big run from the back tonight. He's going to be starting 15th in this field of 19. Adam Botton is going to start 16th. Tyler Belanger making his return after a couple races is going to start 17th in the 69 machine. Keith Bost is going to be 18th, and Doug King is going to round out the field in the 19th position there as I cycle through so you can see what I was seeing. Guess it wasn't clicking. But this track here, it's very, very tricky for everybody to get around here. It's not very wide coming off the turns. It's concrete. Bottom line will probably be the preferred line. You could probably move up about a half truck to a truck to create a second groove, but not very many people will probably be up in that second groove unless it is very late in a run. But we'll get everybody rounded out in this pace lap here as the pace car is going to duck on down. That Ford Mustang, whatever they want to call that thing, iRacing pace car is going to duck on down, and we are going to get to the starter stand for that green and white checkered, or green, to be waved out here as Nick Gowan and Jason Fensler, first and third in the points, going to be starting them out as they go into the Geico restart zone. We're going to have a green flag waving. We are underway here for playoff race number 1. Nick Gowan going to lead him down into 1 and 2 on that bottom line, trying to carry as much speed as possible. As he comes out the chute, it's going to shoot him towards the wall, but you got to be careful as you carry that speed out of there. The longer the run goes, the more it'll try to push you out that way with the worn tires. Making passes will be as quickly as possible as we have a caution, and that is Jeremiah Nelson that is involved in the first caution. A playoff driver is going to be involved, and that's not going to be a good start for Jeremiah. Sure, he's not looking forward to this race now with a beat-up HendrickCars.com number 7, all scraped up, banged up. It's got some major damage all around that truck. 360s worth of somebody going to be working on that truck later, but we'll take a look here and see what happened to Jeremiah as he started out P12. So something happened there in the middle of the run for the Hornet's Nest. We'll take a look here. Going to go back to the far chase mode. We can see exactly what happened here. He's battling with a 78. Not sure. That's Ethan Greek. So we'll take a look here from the 7 and see what happened. Going 3 wide into 3 and 4, and that is not going to work. 38 of Dylan Pickleson just didn't have any room there, and the 7 was trying to make up as many positions as possible early in this race, which is most likely what they're going to have to do to make passes. You're going to want to try to take those positions as fast as you can. But first caution of the night, we are 3 laps into this race, and some guys coming down pit road early. Jeremiah being one of them, going to have some damage fixed. Looking out at the chat, we got Tyler B saying, "What's up?" Tyler B, we're watching you, see what happens. He says, "I can race tonight knowing there's no suspicious activities going on." Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that tomorrow night in Velocity Motorsports race. Those guys going Tuesday night. I'll be firing up here at about 7:20, 7:30, and we'll do some breaking news over there, I guess, or not breaking news, but we'll talk about something that happened over there in Velocity that had some pretty big ripples throughout the iRacing community with what was found. So, but we will talk about that tomorrow, Tyler. TBA Realtree saying, "Let's go, baby, going to park the 78 in Victory Lane." That is Ethan Greek that was talking in the chat. Also says, "God bless America" during the national anthem speech, or the song that was playing. Obviously love that video. Love that I've got the use of it, even though Twitch tries to keep telling me that it's banned, but sorry, but it's free use. so I'm going to use it. I'm an American. But back here to the races, we've got some people out there. If you are here for a specific driver, please let me know throughout the race, and I will pull them up on screen. That way you can follow and see what happens with your favorite driver or family friend or family member, whatever it is, and we'll pay attention to them. But we're going to get rolling again here as we're going through 1 and 2 now. Nick Gowan celebrating a birthday today as well, so gets the pole on his birthday. Got the regular season championship wrapped up last Monday. Pretty good birthday week for him. So if he can come out here and get a win here at Dover, I think that's a pretty good birthday present in my opinion. But I'll get the tower pulled up here. As I said before the race, anybody with the green next to their name on the tower or on the ticket going across the top of the screen whenever I switch to that, that is representation of a playoff driver. So if you see the green square next to their name, they are a playoff driver. Anybody who does not have that green square means they are not fighting for the playoff and just out here racing, trying to collect trophies. Back underway here as Nick Gowan's going to get him fired down the front stretch, green flag waving. We'll go into turn 1 and 2 this time. You see that long drop down to the bottom line that Nick tries to carry, was starting towards the outside of that. Jason Spencer not having a good start to this race as he slipped back to second. Jared Moggart now moving up to second. Jason Spencer started moving back to third. Bring him back at the tower here as I head to Nick Gowan. For some reason, his number is not changing in the system. He's got the green square next to him. But Nick Gowan, 31, out there with 5 wins this season. Second place is going to Jared Moggart as he's got 5 wins. So 10 wins between the top 2 drivers. Add in the 2 wins from the third place driver. And those are our top 3 for the season so far. Those 3 have heavy, heavy shoulders as they're going to have to prepare to get to this Championship 4 race. They've had the most wins this season, 12 wins between those 3, and of course they're 1, 2, 3, just as they are in the playoff hunt. Nick being number 1, Jared being number 2, and Jason being number 3. And it's looking like that's going to be something we're going to be looking at. Mike Miller's been a strong contender. He's just had some bad luck. We talked about it with him with the top 3 podium finish last week. If there was such thing as a unlucky rabbit's foot, he has one inside his truck. He needs to swap that thing out. But last week, first time getting a top 3 finish of the season, so we were able to do a post-race interview with him. Lead change there as Jared Moggart went underneath the 31 and went right around to take over the top spot. Now Nick Gowan back to second. Another 2098 out there saying, "Let's go, Miller." That would be Mike Miller and his daughters that tune in every week to watch their dad run. Definitely appreciate you guys always being here to watch, and I'm pulling for your dad to try to get a win somewhere in this playoff run. I would love to see him as being somebody that sneaks up here and jumps into the playoff hunt for the playoff 4 at the end of the season, the championship 4, to run for that trophy. And I think it'd be awesome to see him come out here against these 3 basically dominators this season and just jump up here and steal one from them. Fifth place is Stan Carnathan, the 43 Bullseye Machine. He is running right in the draft, close to the bumper of the 15 Toyota TRD of Mike Miller. They're kind of lined out right now. Jared Moggart kind of getting a little bit of a gap there. He's out about a half second over Nick Gowan. The rest of the field's kind of struggling back there. The 78 of Ethan Greek is just off of the 43 as well by about a half second. And then there's another gap back to 6th, and that's Charles Mosley Jr., who's about 8/10 off of the 78 machine. Right now, one of our biggest movers is Tyler Belanger back there in the 69 Toyota. He is currently back in 10th place. See that 69 Fireball? He came out and got the win at, I believe it was Martinsville or Richmond. First race of the season for him, comes out, grabs the win, goes away for a couple weeks because he wasn't prepared to run for a full season or anything like that. But comes out, grabs the win, disappears, comes back, and starts from the back of the field tonight, up +8. to start this race. We are 14 laps of the race, and he's already up 8 positions on a track that's very hard to make passes. So he's coming from the back, and he's definitely moving up into the top 10 right now, sitting 9th. So that 69 Fireball machine is definitely on a roll, trying to come up through the playoff drivers. Looking through the top 10 right now, Jared Maugard, Nick Gowan, Jason Fenzer, Mike Miller, Stan Kernathan, Charles Mosley Jr., and Austin Greer are in the top 10. So all top 10 playoff drivers right now, besides Dylan Belanger and Ethan Greek, 2 non-playoff drivers that are mixed into the top 10. So 8 of the 10 positions are held by playoff drivers right now. Sitting in 11th is Jamie Haynes, 12th is Jeff No, and 13th is Jeremiah Nelson. Big recovery for him after that first lap wreck. They're sitting right all in that 11th to 13th range. They're going to have to break up into the top 10 and try to grab some points here from the rest of these playoff drivers. Going to send the ticker across the top of the screen. That way it gives you a little bit more room to see what's going on track. Jared Maugard out here leading this race, 17 laps in. Jared Maugard's been kind of on a roll the last couple of weeks. He's been finishing the top 3, top 5 almost every single week. Nick Gowan right there with him, winning races. When it's not Nick, it's usually Jared, and then sprinkle a couple in there from Jared or Jason Fensler and one from Jeremiah Nelson at Talladega. So other than that, nobody else has won the season. As you see those names come across the top of the screen on the ticker, like I said, if you see a green square next to their name, that means they are a playoff driver. We'll take a look at this beautiful track here, looking at where they're going. They're into turn 2. Take a look around. As they come off the exit, you see how close it is coming off that corner. You got to have a very strong truck to be controlled to go down through there. Turn 3 and 4. 4 exit, not as bad in my opinion as turn 2 exit, but pretty close to it. Drone cam going to cycle around through the track following Jared Maugard right now. Looking very, very smooth up front. Has led about 17 laps, I think. 22 now completed as he completes that 22nd lap. Nick Gowan, Jason Fenzer kind of just trailing right now with Mike Miller, Stan Kernathan, all kind of lined out, trying to catch Jared, but Jared's laying down some really fast laps. 24.180 that last lap. Nick Gowan was slightly faster than Jared that last lap, but not by any kind of significant amount of time to make up time on the 00. Fuel mileage should be in the range of 40 laps, I believe, for this field with 60% fuel range. These guys should be cruising around about lap 40. With that caution early on, if they were able to conserve a little bit, they probably will get about 43, 45. Take a look back through the field for some exciting action as we're now on Jeff No in the 55. And we got a caution out on track. Looks like it's going to involve the 42 and 16, which would be the 16 of Doug King and the 42, which is Keith Bost. We'll take a look back here and see what happened to the 16 and the 42. 42 looks like he gets in and out of the corner just a little too hot, and that's what I was talking about there coming out of the corner. It just pulls you to the wall. If you're not prepared for it, if you don't have a controlled truck, it will suck you right to that wall, and it will make some major damage. He bounced off of it, then coming back down onto the 16, who had nowhere to go. Doug King, just an accident there. Didn't have anywhere to go. Ran right into the 42 as he bounced it off the wall. Quick reaction coming out of turn 2 as we're looking at this. Looking from Doug King now. Just nothing the 16 could do. Innocent bystander kind of just run out of room there as the 42 hit the wall, and the 16 just no time to react. But that's going to put his caution here, number 2. And most of these guys will probably make pit stops here, I would assume. And it looks like they are down pit road now. Try to pull up the 00 and see how he's doing right now in this truck. See if he's doing as good as I think he is, because he is really rip-roaring right now and cruising to pretty much half of a race so far. And I don't see Jared Mogert in the Discord chat. So I'm going to look for second. And that's going to be Nick Gammon. We'll bring him up real quick. Nick, you got a copy of the SWATs in the booth. Nick, you got a copy? Nick, you got a copy of this? SWATs in the booth.
Hey, I got you.
Hey, Nick. First, happy birthday. But we've got 1 to green here. You're chasing the 00. You are the regular season champion. How are you going to get out of this thing and get out in front of that 00? He seemed to be pretty fast on the longer run.
Well, I mean, I wasn't really pushing at all. I was just trying to conserve myself because I know Jared tends to run a little harder early on, so... there in the last few laps, I was starting to reel him back in just a little bit, and I hadn't really changed my pace at all. So if we can get a long green flag run, I think I actually have the advantage there. So fingers crossed for that, and I guess we'll see how the race plays out.
Well, like I said, happy birthday. Go get that birthday gift of another win in the round of 12, and try to get your 6th win.
All right, appreciate it.
We'll
Thank you.
Back down to your teammates.
Thank you.
All right, that's Nick Gowan on the 31. We were going to talk to the 00, but he was unavailable in Discord, so we're going to just go with second place. But this, too, is going to be up front with 5 wins each on the bottom and top side. Drone is coming back around to the start-finish line as we go into the Geico restart zone. 00, Jared Mogert gets the jump and takes off from the field. Going to be having a clear path into turn 1 and 2. Choose whatever lane he wants. Chooses the bottom lane. Nick Gowan trying to float underneath him, trying to do a crossover a little bit, but Jared holding him off as they go down the backstretch into turn 3 and 4 over the Ally Walk Center. And Jared Mogert gets a huge run into turn 3 and 4. Nick Gowan a little slower through that corner. I think Nick is a little bit more conservative with tires and fuel. We've seen him be able to come back on longer runs. Jared's more of a hard nose, put the pedal to the floor and hope it sticks. And more often than not, it does. Jason Fensler, Mike Miller sitting there in 3rd and 4th, trying to run down this duo that has been winning so many races in this American Elite Racing Series. I don't know who's going to be able to get with these 3. Mike Miller's been the closest the last couple weeks. He's had many, many races that he's had one of the faster trucks. He just has terrible luck and finds somebody else's mistake or slip up, and he gets taken out. So he's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive here. He's usually not an aggressive driver, kind of conservative driver, sits back, just kind of picks and chooses where he goes and where he makes passes. But to be up the front and to win a race, you've got to be aggressive. So Mike Miller going to have to kick in that aggression and get up here. Tyler Belanger has moved all the way to 5th back there in that 69 truck, up 12 positions since the start of this race. So Tyler B in that 69 bright yellow fireball paint scheme, now tucked in behind the 15, now ducking low underneath the 15, going to go into turn 1 and 2. See if he completes that pass. He is underneath the 15, going for 4th place, looking at the back bumper of the 5 as well. There's the 69 of Tyler B. Still holding on to the bottom. Mike Miller, runs out of room and hits the wall coming out of turn 4. That's going to make some major damage to the 15. He's going to have to get that fixed at some point if we have another caution here, as long as he's not involved in the caution. But too wide racing coming off the corners is not preferred, as you run out of so much room if you are the top driver on the line. The bottom driver just floats it, and the 15 just ran out of room there, made contact with the wall, and is going to have a pretty damaged truck there if we can get a rear view shot from his truck. Looking at the 15, you can see the damage there to the right front. He's got some wrinkling and scrapage down that side. It's going to be a little bit of a hindrance, but we'll see how much damage it actually is to him. If he can get that fixed under caution, he'd be just fine and dandy. Nick Gowan now slipping back to 4th as Tyler B moves up to 3rd. And Jason Fensler now moves into 2nd place. Nick Gowan must have a little bit of a problem here, or he is really being conservative with fuel and tires and letting these guys go out here and burn their stuff off. But now he has slipped to 5th as Mike Miller now moves up into the 4th position, even with that damage. Charles Mosley Jr. in the 89 machine now looking at taking a target and putting his sights on the 31. Jamie Haynes now moving up through the field as well, up 8 positions now to P7. Lined up on Charles Mosley Jr. behind him with the Dylan Picklesimmer right behind Jamie Haynes in 8th. Jeff No now up to 9th in his Winn-Dixie 55 machine. Austin Greer still holding on to P10. Up front, Tyler Belanger takes the lead from the 00 of Jared Maugert. Tyler B out here running some really fast laps. Definitely laid down some really consistent fast laps right there. And got right to the 00, made the pass. Tyler Belanger almost 2.5 tenths faster than the 00 that last lap. He has the fastest lap of the race with a 23.151. Just screaming fast laps right now for the 69. Hopefully he is not burning his stuff up to go through this field. He is up 16 positions from the start of the race. 38 laps into this race. He has cleared, about 2 drivers per lap until he took the lead. So definitely moving pretty fast here as we look over the oval for the blimp. It is a beautiful track at Dover. Very, very usually competitive race. Guys try to run that second line, but usually doesn't work out for them too well. But the bottom line is the preferred line. But they carry so much speed on here. It's essentially, the banking is almost exactly like Bristol at, I believe, 28-degree banking. But Tyler Belanger has now taken the lead in the 69 Fireball machine. Looking back through the rest of the field, Jared Maugert sitting 2nd. Mike Miller up to 3rd now. Has passed Jason Fensler for 3rd and has set his sights on Jared Maugert as well. Jason Fensler sitting 4th. Nick Gowan is going to be sitting 5th. Dylan Picklesimmer now up to 6th. It's going to be Charles Mosley Jr. sitting 7th. Jeff No is going to be sitting 8th. Jamie Haynes is going to be sitting 9th with Austin Greer sitting 10th. Pretty good race so far. We've had 2 cautions. One was a driver that just lost it himself. A second caution was the 16 and the 42. The 42 ran out of room coming out of turn 4, bounced it off the wall, and 16 had nowhere to go and brought out the second caution on the night. 43 laps into this race. We're getting closer and closer to that halfway point. They just had pit stops under caution. They've run 18 laps since the restart. And Jared Maugert is starting to reel back in the 69 machine as now Jared Maugert almost 2 tenths faster than the 69 as the 69 looks like he has moved up in the corners, which usually happens throughout the run as the tires get worn out. You can't stick to the bottom You got to get up to the top. The guys that conserve tires will then be able to make passes really easy from the bottom lane, as the guys on older tires just aren't able to stick it to the bottom lane. Double Zero going back underneath the 69 to try to take back over the lead now as he grips the bottom line and rips it around turn 1 and 2. It takes over the top spot again. 69 and Tyler Beeland are going to move back to second. Mike Miller still sitting back there in third. Don't know what is going on here with SDK. Alright, there's my mouse. It's being controlled by the mouse. There we go. I don't know what happened there. Alright, paying attention to the 15 on Mike Miller now. Currently sitting third, trying to chase down Tyler Beelanger and Jared Maugard. Jared Maugard back out front again with Tyler Beelanger chasing him. Tyler Beelanger, not a playoff driver, but trying to get a trophy out of this. 50 now, so I'm going to go to commercial break. We'll come right back after this side-by-side view. We won't miss any of the action. Coming back here for American Elite Racing playoff race number 1. Round of 12 is underway at Dover. Right now, Jared Moggert's still out front. Jason Fenzer sitting second. Nick Gowan third. Mike Miller fourth. Dylan Picklesimmer is fifth. Jeff Noe sixth. Jamie Haynes seventh. Tyler Belanger, who took the lead a little while ago, has slipped all the way to eighth. Stan Carnathan sitting ninth. And Charles Mosley Jr. rounding out the top 10 right now for Dover. This is playoff race number 1 at Dover. We've got 2 races in the round of 12, 2 races in the round of 8, and then we'll go to the championship 4 and battle it out for the championship trophy here at American Elite Racing. The last race of the season, and actually, unfortunately, end of the era in American Elite Racing, as it will be closing down after the championship season. And the truck drivers will be moving over to Velocity Motorsports Truck Series on Monday nights. We are 65 laps into the race, coming up to the halfway point here shortly. Right now, they're on a 41-lap run. Jared Moggert been out front for the last several laps as he took the lead from Tyler Belanger. And Tyler Belanger, unfortunately, started to slip back through the field and has ended up down spiraling all the way to 8th position. Jason Fenzer sitting second, Nick Gowan third. See if these 3 playoff powerhouses right now, as these 3 have won 12 races out of the 15 races this season. And the only other non-playoff driver is the only non-playoff driver to get a win is Mr. Kool-Aid back a few weeks ago. And Jeremiah Nelson is the only other driver in the league that has a win but is a playoff driver. So we'll pay attention to these guys right now. Jeremiah Nelson did have a caution. He was part of the first caution of the race and had some major damage, but he has moved back up through the field and is currently sitting in 12th. We've got two drivers, 1 lap down each, and that is Keith Boss and Jeff Taylor. Keith Boss was involved in the second caution with the 16, but the 16 is currently sitting 16th and on the current lap. Michael Carter now just went a lap down as he is on pit road. Pit stops are underway for Green Flag Racing here at Dover. Taking a ride around with the 00 of Jared Moggert as he cruises right now out front by about 2 seconds, about 1.9 seconds over second place. Jason Fenzer, and about 2.7 seconds over third place, which is Nick Gowan. And then they've got a pretty healthy gap back to fourth place, which is Mike Miller, who is 6.5 seconds back from the lead. Some point here, the leaders will be taking their pit stops. They're running their 45th lap, so under caution. They could have saved a little bit of fuel. I was guessing somewhere around 40 to 45 laps for fuel mileage, but these guys are going over that right now, so maybe closer to 50 to 55. Some people have already taken the pit stops. Keith Boss, Michael Carter, and that looks to be about it that has taken a pit stop as of now. Ethan Greek struggling tonight, down 1 lap. That 78 is not doing well tonight. Actually back to 16th position, 1 lap down. Jason Fenzer being chased by Nick Gowan. These two have closed the gap on each other. Nick is now 2/10 back from Jason Fenzer. Long run. Nick said that he had a car that could compete on the long run. Jared Moggert, kind of a driver, like I said before, that he just kind of puts the pedal to the floor and hope it sticks for the entire run. And Nick usually is able to run back down people on the long run. He's more conservative with his tires to start the runs. And he has started to close the gap on the 5. Back in the rest of the field, Jeff Noe sitting here in 6th right now, being hunted by Jamie Haynes in the 53. Jeff Noe is chasing the 38 and the 15, about 6 truck lengths back from the 38. Tyler Belanger is now sitting 10th, slipped 2 more positions there as Stan Carnathan and Charles Mosley Jr. got by him. He is now currently sitting 10th. Really went out there at a very fast pace. Has some damage on the right side of the truck, so while he was leading, he must have made some contact with the wall. And it has obviously adjusted the handling of this truck as he has slipped further and further back through the field. Jared Mager going to continue to lead this race, though. We are 55 laps to go. Jared has led about 50 laps or more. Nick led about 15, and Tyler Belanger led about 8 or 9 before getting passed by the 00 to take back over the lead. If you've got a driver out there that you'd love for me to pay attention to, please put it in the chat, and I will pull that driver up on screen. We'll watch that driver go around the track a few times and see how he's handling his truck. Jared Mager completing lap. And going to 53 to go now. Jared Mager looking for his 6th win of the season. Finished second in the regular season point standings behind Nick Gowan, who also has 5 wins. And we'll see if Jared's able to clinch that first win of the playoff round to move him into the second round. Whoever anonymous gifter is, thank you for the anonymous gift to several different people out there watching right now. Tyler B getting an anonymous gift of a tier 1 sub, so appreciate whoever that is. Don't know who it is that's doing it because it's coming in as anonymous, but definitely appreciate it. It looks like the leader is going to come down pit road finally. He is 55 laps into his run, and he is finally hitting pit road for 4 fresh tires and some fuel. Looks like the rest of the field has stayed out. Jason Fenzer currently still out there on track. And he is now going to come down 1 lap later with Nick Gowan trying to beat him into the pit stall or pit lane. I don't know if Nick maybe sped right there because it looked like he was going a little faster than Jason, but closed the gap to the 5 trucks bumper. We'll see who can have the fastest pit stop there and get out before one or another. That's going to put the lead in Dylan Pittlesimber's hands for that 1 lap lead point. Jeff Noe's going to be sitting second. Tyler Belanger now in third. Adam Botton fourth. Pit road's becoming a little crowded as Nick Gowan, Jamie Hames, Jeremiah Nelson, Austin Greer, Stan Carnathan all hitting pit road now. Right side's going up on the 5 and getting 2 fresh tires on that side. We'll see if the lefts go up. And there they go. Jacked up the left side on both the 31 and 5. Put in 2 fresh tires on that side. 5 gets out. 31 get out. Race off pit lane. And the 5 will get out before the 31. Closely followed by the 31. Lead is now Adam Botton in the 94 out on track. He is currently our leader in the cleanest driver in the field, as the top 12 were not permitted to be a part of that. I was kind of confused when I seen those ratings coming out. It had Adam on there, but Nick was actually leading the overall point standings for the cleanest driver of the season, but he's not eligible for the reward or award for that. So if you finish in the top 12 to go to the playoffs, you are not part of the cleanest driver award. Adam Botton going to be in the lead, but being passed by Jared Mager right now to take over the lead as Adam Botton now hits pit road. Jason Fenzer, Mike Miller, and Nick Gowan sitting second, third, and fourth. Mike Miller able to pass Nick Gowan by pitting 1 lap earlier and being on fresher tires out there. He's able to get in between the 5 and the 31 truck. Now 15 looking to try to set his sights on the 5. 1 lap difference in tires doesn't really make a huge difference in the run, but that 1 lap that he got on those fresher tires allowed him to make up time, as the fall off is pretty evenish as far as tire fall off. It's only within a few tenths of a difference, but he was only a few tenths back from these guys when the pit stops happened, so he was able to get out there and make that pit stop and get out there. Actually, it looks like he pitted about 3 laps before Jason Fenzer and Gowan did. Back to the field, another playoff driver there. James Ledford in the 8, being challenged by the 69. Looks like Tyler Belanger was able to get that right side damage fixed and is now back in the hunt, trying to come back up through this field. He is currently sitting, though, back in 11th as he makes the pass for 10th on James Ledford, now taking over P10 position. Jason Fensler being hunted by Mike Miller and Nick Gowan. The 5 trying to hunt down the Jared Mogart of the 00, as the 00 is a little further out in front of these guys. He's got a pretty healthy lead of about 3 seconds now over the top 3 guys. Jared Mogart kind of on cruise control right now as we've got 44 laps to go. He's got about a 3-second lead over the rest of the guys who are chasing him here, with Jason Fensler, Mike Miller, Nick Gowan, all within that 3-second time frame. Jamie Haynes has now moved into 5th, but he is 11.5 seconds back from the leader. Stan Kernathan sitting 6th, also 11.5 to 12 seconds back. Dylan Pickensimmer sitting 7th. Is 15.5 seconds back. Jeff Mills sitting 8th. Is going to be 16.2 seconds back. Tyler Belanger sitting 9th. And we've got a caution out on track, and it's the 7 of Jeremiah Nelson who's going to be involved in this one. Trying to figure out what happened to him, but he's already on pit road with massive damage down the right side of that truck again. We'll take a look here and see what brought out the yellow with Jeremiah Nelson. It looks like he's already down pit road, so we'll back it up here.
I ain't in the playoffs, doesn't matter. Out of turn 2, middle back.
Trying to see if this is where it happened, but 7 comes up on the 8 of James Ledford and Charles Moses Jr. Looks like he gets a little loose, goes down to the bottom, and basically gives up the position to 2 drivers. Goes through turns 1 and 2. Don't know if there's something wrong with that truck or if he's out of fuel or something, because he was really slow entering 1 and 2. Gets down to pit road. Tries to get into pit lane, slows it down. It's got to be even further back. So he hits pit road. Does not use the fast repair. Comes out of pit road with 4 fresh tires. Leaves pit road, heads down the backstretch, goes into 3 and 4. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Not seeing anything. Definitely has some massive damage, so he's going to be out of the race, but Jason Fensler is going to be your leader. Nick Gowan's going to be second as these guys took pit stops there. We'll try to pull up Jason Fensler and see what he has going on for this race here and how he's feeling about it. And again, I don't see that driver in Discord as well. Well, 5th place. How about that? Jamie, you got a copy of this? Is Swats in the booth?
What's up, buddy?
What's going on? You are riding P5 right now. You've been pretty quick. You started 15th. You're up through the field. You've got your sights right in line with the leader. How's this race looking for you? And can you get that first win of the season in the first round of the playoffs?
I don't know if I can get a win or not. I'm definitely got a top 5 truck, but I don't know about getting a win. Just I haven't seen myself be in the top couple guys league so far in the race, but you never know in the last 40 laps.
Gotcha. Well, you've been really fast. Looks like you've been really chasing down some guys, but those 3 powerhouses between Jason Fensler, Nick Gowan, and Jared Mogart have just been really, really fast. Other than Tyler Belanger was able to get up there and take the lead. So they can be beat. They can be fast. You can be faster than them. You just got to make some positional moves and aggressiveness and get by these guys.
Yep, I'm gonna give it a shot. That's for sure.
All right. Well, we'll see if we're talking to you at the end of the night. We'll send you back down to your team.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
It looks like I've been joined in the booth by another driver. It looks like Tyler Belanger's in the booth. Tyler, what's up, buddy?
Just offering to commentate the rest of the race with you if you want somebody. If not, I'll stay quiet, buddy.
Oh, I'll take anybody to talk to me at this point. It's quiet talking to yourself for an hour and a half. So, but you were out there on track. You seemed really fast. What happened there? It looked like you maybe made some contact with the outside wall and just spiraled down from there, down all the way to like 13th. And then what happened there right before with the 7? It looked like you gave up the position, and then the 7 gave the position, and then all of a sudden a caution came out, and I never saw what happened.
Yeah, I was watching your replay there. As on the restart, we see Fensler takes the lead on go, and they're gonna look to check out on the field. But yeah, the 7 wasn't in front of me. I hadn't given him the spot. I was just cruising around the track. I had the lead there for a while and knew I was roasting my stuff. I'm okay with that. I'm not running for points here, just for fun. And slid back through and started saving fuel. That's why I went all the way back to 10th. And then I was just trying to make up spots on that right after coming out of the pits. And I come around the corner and I see the 7 down in the grass, and he just comes up onto the track. He didn't hold the brakes or nothing. He just came through the grass, up the apron, and clipped me in the back. And I'd actually just used my fast, thinking the rest of the race was going to go green on that right side damage that I had. So that one puts me out of the race.
Well, it's a quick return for you and quick exit, but you showed up a couple weeks ago. You got that win, trophy hunting. I was surprised to see in the field tonight, but it was a pleasure seeing that 79 or 69 out on track, that bright yellow Fireball paint scheme. Unfortunately, now you're up here in the booth with me watching the race, but I was telling Jamie there, these 3 powerhouses in this series between Jason Fensler, Nick Gowan, and Jared Mogart have won 12 races this season, and outside of you winning, Jeremiah Nelson winning, and then Mr. Kool-Aid winning, nobody else has won a race this season, so it's been pretty crazy that these 3 have been this dominant. There's been a lot of guys who finished 4th, 5th, and 6th, but nobody else is able to top these guys, besides you, in one race.
Yeah, they're in my eyes the elite of the elite. I raced with Jason Fensler, who's out here in front under pressure by Nick right now, last season, and he was extremely hard to beat. Had he not missed the race at the end of the season in the last round of the playoffs, he would have been in the Final 4. And then Nick's Nick, you know, he's going to be one to beat anywhere you go. And Jared Mogart's also been one of the newer guys I've raced around who's been extremely fast. Very aggressive, too. So you see Nick throwing a block on him right there. That's probably the race for the win. Fensler's kind of been quiet this race. He's been up there, but he's been quiet, hanging around, and now he's probably really looking to pressure. I saw a couple of 2-tire stops on that last series, so be curious to see how that works out. Those left sides not really taking any abuse. And, you know, this playoffs, baby, I'm not sure if Jason's in it. I know Jared and Nick are, and they're still side by side. They don't want to give each other an inch because they know they're probably going to be 2 of the Final 4s, you know, battling it out for the championship.
Yeah, the first 3 in the playoff hunt is Nick Gowan right now in first, Jared Mogart in second, and Jason Fensler third. So top 3 in the race is your top 3 in the playoffs hunting for this championship in the round of 12 right now. Dover's a hard track. I see a lot of guys trying to go side by side out of the corner, and Nick Gowan gets into Jared, who gets into the 5, and Fensler goes around coming out of turn 4. That's unfortunate for a playoff driver, but that's what happens when we get into the playoff hunt. The aggression goes to 10, and guys don't give breaks like they used to do in the regular season.
Yeah, Fensler was not in the right spot for that. I'm not sure if that was really Nick Gowen's fault or not. He just claimed it over the comms. It looked like Mogard made a last-second dive to go low on Fensler, and Gowen wasn't quite expecting it and gave him that little shot right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the three, man. Those are the three that you're going to really be wanting to watch for coming down to the Final Four. So no shock to see them up front battling for like that, but very surprising to see them in a wreck as we see Nick's going to go down the pits here and Mogard's going to stay out.
Well, 31 and 00 had a run in last week where Jared threw a massive block, which Nick kind of took the blame for, but was like, I wasn't expecting him to be there. He'd been riding on the high side. Jared said that he tried to come off the high side just a little bit just to keep Nick on his toes, and they just kind of met in the middle. And Nick was not happy about it before the race was over or after the race was over. During the burnout, or right before the burnout for Jared, Nick came out of nowhere and definitely left a giant mark on the back of the 00 to at least, give him his unsatisfaction of that move. Jared said he didn't really do anything on purpose, but it was 8 laps to go. He was racing for the win with Nick, who was a little faster, obviously. Nick was coming, and Jared just drove a different line, and Nick was not expecting it, and they made contact, and of course, Nick got the worst end of it. Still brought it home second, though.
Yeah, Jared can be very aggressive, but he is obviously very talented. I don't know if you got a chance to look at that replay. I just went back and looked at it, and that is some of the worst net code that I have seen in quite some time. I know these trucks are notorious for it, but when Nick bumps Mogard there in the rear, his back end kicks sideways, and Fensler's legitimately got like 3 feet between the two of them, half of a truck, and Fensler just gets taken out by absolutely nothing. So that's really unfortunate to see with how good of racing they had going on up there, especially so late in the race. With so little time, they weren't really worried about tire wear. That's a shame for both Nick, who had a pit, and for Mogard. I'm sorry, not Mogard, for Fensler there, because that really should not have happened.
Yeah, we're watching the replay right now as Mogard gets the big run, and I would say, yeah, Nick was not expecting the 00 to dive down in front of him in there and take the bottom line, kind of cut his nose off a little bit, and yeah, there's definitely some big net code there. Once Nick made contact with the back of the 00, it sent him right into the 5, causing that about, I don't know, I would even say about 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah, I was being generous when I said 3 because I wasn't sure if you were looking at it, but that's the worst net code I have seen in quite some time, and I feel like any time we have horrible net code, it's in the truck series for whatever reason. But I'm really upset if I'm Fensler right now, but I know he's going to probably go back and look at that and realize that that's nobody's fault right there, because Mogard had that gathered back up. He would have been fine, and it would have just checked up the low line a little bit. It actually would have helped Fensler, but instead the iRacing servers grabbed him there.
Yeah, but this is going to be 27 laps to go. We've got a newcomer on the front row leading him to the green here, and that's going to be the 43 of Stan Carnathan in that bullseye paint scheme. I don't know what it is about that paint scheme, but I definitely like the red, black, and white. Never really, I guess, looked into bullseye or whatever that is, but it's definitely a cool paint scheme. But my biggest move right now, or at least biggest surprise being up here, is Mike Miller in third position. Finished P3 last week, got his first top 3 finish of the season. Has been very, very quick, as I've said in almost every broadcast. He has the opposite of a lucky rabbit's foot. Every race, it seems like he always gets collected in somebody else's mess. Somebody loses it, gets spun, or there's a big caution or something like that, and he just has nowhere to go and gets collected in it. So last week he was able to avoid any of that carnage throughout the race, and was able to bring it home P3. So he's sitting P3 right now. Could we see Mike Miller get a P2 or even his first win of the season? I'd like to think I'd see it, and this would definitely help him in the playoff points, as he's currently sitting back in about 9th or 10th in the playoff points. This would definitely push him up towards the front.
Well, if he wants a win as we get ready to go green here, he's probably going to have to do a little bump and run. But yes, he has been very fast. When I was around him tonight, he was looking really good. Be curious to see how aggressive Nick is back there in the third row up in 6th. Mogard is going to take off here, get a great jump. Nick gets stacked up behind 4th place. They're going to go. Somebody missed a shift or something on that. They're falling through the field bad. Yeah, I think he missed the shift there, stacked everybody out. That's only going to help Mogard even more. He's going to take off. Miller falling in behind, or Stan in second, Miller. And Nick going, he wasted no time going in, trying to take that pass for third. He gets that. He knows he needs to go right now if he's going to have any chance of getting up to Mogard with less than 20 to go.
Yeah, with 24 laps to go, it's really hard to try to make passes here, Tyler. You were able to come from the back. You had a plus, I think, 17 at one point through this race when you took over the lead. I'm seeing smoke come out of the 43. They looked like he was dragging onto the wall, coming out of P2 or coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, Stan got in the wall there a little bit and allowed Nick to get behind him. And Nick, he must have taken tires in that pit stop because he is flying as he goes low down on Mogard right now. If this stays green and he has those fresh tires, he's going to be in the catbird seat, no doubt.
I think he got lucky with the caution. He was involved in it. It was
no fault of his own.
Yeah, it was netcode. It was, Jared diving down in front of him. He just wasn't expecting it, so it was hard racing in my opinion. But he snuck into pit lane and nobody else went with him, which was surprising to me.
Well, Jamie Haynes did go with him, and you can see Jamie just made a pass for 3rd place, and he's going to be coming up on Mogard's bumper here pretty soon if those tires are going to work out that well for him like they have for Nick. So I don't imagine Jamie's going to have anything for Nick. They've got quite a distance from them, but he could creep in there and pull off a 2nd place and really help himself in these playoff points.
Absolutely. Sitting P5 in the playoff hunt. He's been pretty much P4 all season in the playoffs with those 3 getting majority of the wins throughout the season. This could be a huge jump for him to try to get in front of Fensler and Mogard if he can do it. I think Jamie has the ability to get the win. He just, with the 3 that are in this series, collecting all these wins, it's so hard for everybody else to get a win.
Well, he's looking low now on Mogard in 2nd, and I can tell you now there's nobody on this track right now that wants a truck win more than him. I talk with him about it all the time. He hasn't won the trucks in his league, and he's been dying to. And if he gets the opportunity, I guarantee you he's willing to move Nick going up out of the groove and take home a win tonight. So keep a real close eye on how close he gets to that 31 truck.
Well, I know it's Nick's birthday today, but Jamie just had a birthday a few days ago.
Yeah, a few days ago.
I'd like to see Jamie give a birthday gift to Nick.
We got birthday boys up here battling for the lead.
If Jamie could give him a birthday gift, I think it would be a back bumper to a front bumper. But
I can tell you now, too, Jamie wouldn't even feel bad about it. He's been wanting one of these wins in this truck series so bad. And when you see a guy like going out there winning practically every week, you don't feel quite as bad when you have to, take a chance and move them to try to get yourself one of those wins.
I think Jamie would come into the booth if he gets the win by moving Nick and be like, hey, had to do what I had to do. So
Yep, absolutely. Well, he's there. He's tracked him down. He's got to make this pass quickly because Goen is a little better at saving tires typically. And on the long run, he felt really good tonight when I was talking to him in chat. So if Jamie wants this, he needs to get by him and then try to just play the blocking game as we're coming to about 16 laps to go here.
If there's another caution, though, Tyler, do you come down pit road if you're any one of those top 3? You saw Nick jump out of P2 or P3, whatever it was.
Mogard, maybe, just because he is on the older tires here. But when you're thinking longevity, as much as they want to win, they want to make sure they're going to walk out of here with positive points and make the next race even easier. It's only 2 races before they go down to, I think it's 6 drivers or something like that. And they're going to want to make sure that they take these points. You pit now, if the late caution comes out, you can get caught up in something like I did, and next thing you know, you're sitting way below the cutoff going into the last race, and then you're racing for your life. So if I'm them and I'm in that boat, I stay out if a caution comes out.
Well, Tyler, you were out there on track. How hard is it to make the outside pass? Obviously, the bottom groove is the preferred groove, so you can't do much, in my opinion, on the outside. Did you feel anything in the outside line?
On the short run, the outside is amazing, especially if you're running against some guys maybe on older tires. But on my restarts, the biggest key is you got to trust who's below you. You got to know that they're not going to slide up coming out of the turn and cut your nose off and put you into the wall. So if you trust the guys you're around, those first 10 laps, you can really make some ground up on the outside. That's part of how I made up so many spots so early on.
I think Jamie would definitely trust the 31 below him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One of the cleaner.
Looks like the 31's separated himself a little bit more now. As we see Fensler's back up to 4th, and he's pressuring Mogard. He's going to go low on him right here. he's looking to get back up here and redeem himself after getting net coded to oblivion.
Fensler also came down and grabbed tires, so the three
Yes.
that grab tires are definitely moving.
Tires and probably a fast.
Yeah, I think he definitely uses fast repair. Mogard has slipped to fourth as Fensler takes over the P3 position now. Fensler coming from a little further back, obviously, than Nick and Jason, or Jamie, but Jason was leading before he got sent by the
Jason was
Necco.
P10 when the last green flag came out. So, but my concern would be, I think he can get to Jamie and get around Jamie, but I imagine he's really had to abuse his stuff more than he'd like to get through 6 cars to this point, or 7. And I don't know, we're coming to 10 to go. I'm just not quite sure he's gonna have the time. Jamie slides up and lets him go. That's gonna help him a lot. He's sitting about a second back right now, but with Jamie not fighting him, he might have a little bit of time to track him down, but he's going to have to do it quick, man. 9/10.
And I said this before, I think Jamie's got to get that aggression bug. He's got to hit the button or something, because letting a guy go with 10 laps to go, even though Jason seems to be obviously a little faster, they're on the same set of tires. Why would Jamie move over like that? Why wouldn't you stay on the bottom line and make him work for it?
Well, I've seen him on both sides. I've seen him do what he's doing tonight, which in my opinion is actually pretty smart, because he's sitting pretty comfortable in the points, and if he can walk away with a P3 and finish in front of Mogard, that's going to be a good feeling for him. But I've also seen him get really aggressive. If this was him fighting for his playoff life right now in a cutoff race or something, he probably doesn't move over. But it's also one of those tracks where, he said he felt like a top 4 or 5, but maybe not a top 2 or 3. That plays a big part into, especially a track like this where it's so technical. If you know that guy behind you is faster, that's going to wear on you. And sometimes you're just better off to fall behind and see, what you might be able to learn out of it, or just be happy with the position you can manage for your points,
Well, Fensler and Nick have definitely pulled away from Jamie.
Oh, yeah, quickly.
Fensler is trying to run down Nick, but Nick is one of the fastest drivers on the track by 3/100ths over Jason Fensler. But Jason Fensler right there, second fastest on track. Another truck that's moving up through the field is Keith Boston, the 42, who was involved in that second caution of the night. Definitely stopped there, took at least maybe one side tires, and has moved up through. He's now P9. I think he was like P16 when we went back to green here, or P14 when we went back to green. So he's coming up through the field pretty quickly too. Those extra rubber, or the extra rubber on the tires, is definitely helping those guys that stopped. I'm kind of surprised more guys didn't stop with seeing Nick go. I'm surprised the rest of them didn't go with him.
I would have definitely thought that more guys would have come down on that. I mean, you can see how well it's paid off. Maybe they were expecting another caution, but once you get yellows that close to the end of the race on a track that's hard to pass, you're kind of stuck staying out. So I'm surprised as well that we didn't see more. But I think we were right about Jason having to use up his stuff to get up there to P2 as Nick started to check out a little bit, or maybe Nick was saving a little bit, but he's opened it up about 0.3 of a second since Jason cleared Jamie for second place. So Nick's feeling pretty good on his birthday night.
Fastest on the track now is Nate Gowan again. Jason Fensler had it for about a split second, and then Nick took it back. So I would definitely say with less than 5 laps to go, we got 4 laps to go, unless a caution comes out, restacks this field, which would definitely throw a bit of excitement in here. But Nick is probably going to walk away with his 6th win of the season. Jason Fensler got 2 wins this season. Does at least need some good finishes here, like you said. If you're in the top 10, you don't really want to drop out of that top 10 if you're a playoff driver. And I'm looking through the top 10 right now. The top 10 is 1st through 9th. All playoff drivers. The only non-playoff driver in P10 is Keith Bost, who I said was coming, slipped back to Stan Kernathan, and now is in P9. So the only other playoff drivers who are not in the top 10 is Jeff Noe, Dylan Pickesimmer, and Jeremiah Nelson, who's out of the race.
Yeah, and I bet right now, I'd be willing to bet my whole paycheck that these top 4 right now are going to be your final 4 for the playoffs. So maybe a little bit of gauging each other too, as Nick's going to take this one pretty easily to get an idea of what's going to be, coming these last 3-4 races of the season. They know what to expect, and any last little thing that they can learn at the end of the season to try to use their advantage, they're probably doing that. But these 4, they're probably going to be there at the end, man.
Well, white flag is currently out as we're on the last lap as Nick Gowan comes through 3 and 4. Checkered flag going to be put into the hand and waved as Nick Gowan wins the playoff race number 1 at Dover and collects his 6th win of the season. Jason Fensler coming home P2, Jamie Haynes P3, Jared Mogart is going to be P4, James Ledford coming from a long back P12 in the playoff hunt is going to have a P5 tonight. That's going to be a big point night for him to move up through the playoffs. Austin Greer going to be sitting 6th, Charles Mosley Jr. 7th, Mike Miller 8th, Stan Carnathan 9th, and Keith Boss rounding out the top 10 as it looks like Jamie Haynes is going to follow Nick Gowan to the start stripe. Gowan burning them down as we'll be right back for the top 3 post-race session here. All right, we're back here for American Elite Racing. Playoff race number 1 at Dover is over, and Nick Gowan takes the win at Dover for his 6th win of the season. The 31 Good Runch has been in this spot 6 times now this season. Nick, happy birthday again. great birthday present to yourself. I was kind of hoping Jamie would give you a little birthday present to the back bumper, but he was not successful getting there. What did it take for you to get this win tonight? And then if you can go over what happened there between you, Mogard, and Fensler towards the end of the race.
I think he just got lucky with that strategy call. I mean, Mogard had a lot of pace. He surprised me. He surprised me with the long run pace that he had on that previous run. Jason and I were reeling him in, but it just wasn't enough towards that in the end of that long run with the green flag pit stops. So that definitely helped us on that last run. It was a gamble because I knew it was my last set. I'm not sure about Jason, but it was my last set of tires. So like, had we gotten a caution after that, the tables would have been turned completely. Thank you for the birthday wish. Appreciate that. I mean, what more could you ask for on your birthday? A race win. So happy about that. And as far as like the contact between me, Mogard, and Fensler, I was just trying to stay as close to Mogard as I possibly could. Just because I knew he had the fresher tire. He took all 4 tires, so I was just trying to make him use his tires up just a little bit more than Jason and I. But I barely tapped the rear of the 00, and it looked like there might have been some netcode there with the 5. I mean, it wasn't my intent whatsoever to cause that kind of accident. But I mean, lucky for Jason, he still got a P2 out of it. So it definitely, that yellow worked in our favor when we took those tires, and it stayed green. So it definitely worked out for us in the end.
Well, I will say this: Tyler B and I took a look at the contact there. You definitely made contact with the 00, and then Tyler and I agreed that it was probably the worst netcode we've seen in a long time. It was about 5 feet of gap between the 5 and the 00, and it just sent the 5 around when he made contact with the 00. So definitely one of the worst netcode scenes that I've seen in a long time happened to the 5 there, but. I knew you and the 00 had contact last week at Auto Club, and I knew, that drivers don't forget that kind of stuff. And you did make the comment last week of saying, you see where it's at now, and we are in the playoffs. And I figured Jared looked like he kind of cut down in front of you, kind of not as close as people would say, cutting your nose off, but it was pretty close to being called that, if not, just slicing down in front of you. But you get through that. You came down pit road. I was surprised that I only seen Jamie and Jason and a couple others that took tires. Jason obviously needed to come down to get some damage fixed as well. Took tires and then made his way back up to the field. But obviously those 4 fresh tires were a big, check mark on why you're up here at the front. You had one of the faster trucks. You got the pole too, so that's another birthday gift to yourself. But definitely a good start to the playoffs. Your 6th win of the season. It's definitely clear you're going to be in the next round for sure. And I mean, like Tyler and I said, the top 4 tonight is probably the 4 that we expect to be in the championship for. But you never know what can happen in these races. You guys got to be consistent. You got to keep doing what you've done all season between the 4 of you. You finished 1, 2, 3, 4 in the regular season. Obviously, with Jerry Nelson getting that win at Talladega, it bumped him up into P4, starting the playoff run. But I definitely think you 4 are the 4 that we'll be seeing at the end of the championship run here for the championship. So congratulations on your 6th win. One more time, happy birthday. There's probably some other things, wink, wink, that you might want for your birthday outside of a win. But I'll let somebody else handle that for you. Not me, but congratulations again.
Thank you for that, and shout out to the rest of the team. Eon Motorsports, myself, Stan, James, Jeff No, all those guys. I mean, Tyler was kind of an honorary member tonight. He was in there with us in the Discord, and yeah, I feel like it's here coming down to the end. It's me versus all the Jays, because if you look at the top 5, it's myself, Jason, Jamie, Jared, and James. So, and then you have Jeremiah as well, which is also in the playoffs. So, it's one N and all the Jays. So the Jays might have it in the end, but we'll see. It's a very tight field. That and Jeff No, yeah, exactly. So one more J, all the Jays. So. We'll see what happens here in the last few weeks of the season.
There's an N, there's a C, there's an A, there's an M, and all J's. And an S. But yeah, we'll move on to P2. We'll see what happens next week in the last race of the round of 12 for you, Nick, and we'll see if you can make it into the next round. But we'll move on to P2, and that's the 5 truck of Jason Fensler getting another top 3 this season. Jason, you had a pretty fast truck. You were up there pretty much all night in the top 3, top 4, outside of the P10 when obviously you had contact due to the net code. I know you'll probably go back and take a look at it. Everybody sees it differently, obviously, but from our perspective up here in the booth, it definitely looked like one of the worst net code actions on track that I've seen in a long time from my racing. It seems to always happen in the trucks, though, with the worst net code for some reason. I don't know what they got for a buffer around these trucks, but what did you see from your rearview mirror, I guess, or what did you see out of the truck when you were going around there?
Not much. Just went in spin cycle there. It's unfortunate. Kind of ruined the outcome of the race, to be honest with you. I set my truck up for long run just because Dover's so hard on tires, and there at the end when we were able to rally, I just had to push so hard. Once I got into second, I got kind of mired back there on the restart, so it took me a little while to get through some traffic and kind of had to use the stuff up a little bit. But I'm happy with the bounce back P2. It's not too bad to start off playoffs, so we'll just work on that and go from there.
Well, it seems like every week I'm talking to you, Nick, or Jared, whether it's first, second, or third. So you guys P2 or P2, P1 tonight. You got the 2 wins on the season. You took that break or vacation. You said it was kind of a break too. You came back, pulled off those 2 wins, and kind of had some bad races the last couple of weeks. We've seen you last week with Auto Club. You were about, 8 laps or 7 laps short on fuel, and had to take that last pit stop to make it to the end. We've got some races coming up that are going to probably be within the pit strategy calls. Are you working on that? Have you talked to anybody about, certain strategy calls, when to make the call for the pit stop? Things like that, because Richmond, that's the next race. It's not really a mile and a half cookie cutter super speedway, one that you really got to worry about fuel, but fuel could definitely play into a strategy when it's 140 laps and these trucks are at 60%, which probably is going to be about a 70 to 80 lap run. So you could probably do it maybe in 1 to 2 stops, depending on how you do with fuel saving.
Yeah, they're at the end of the regular season. There really wasn't anything to lose, so I was just trying some different strategies. Obviously, they didn't work, but at any rate, like last week, I just figured let's try a strategy to see if we get a late caution. Didn't come out, but that's just the way it is. So, into the regular season, you can kind of roll those dice and see if they work out. So I thought it was a great opportunity to try that. And then once the playoffs start, it's a whole different ball game. So you go into a race with a strategy and you kind of stick with that. And I think it'll obviously be a little bit different strategy because it is the playoffs. So, but you know what they say, you follow a leader, you follow a leader. So sometimes when you do something different, it pays off. So we'll see.
All right. Well, congratulations on P2 tonight. Any big shout outs for you?
Yeah. You and everybody that does the broadcast, Jamie and the entire group on the league. Great little league. A lot of fun to come be a part of. Hate to see it go, but we'll hopefully make it an exciting one here as we wind down the season, and we'll see what happens next week.
Well, definitely congratulations again, and we'll talk to P3, and that is our one and only admin owner, Jamie Haynes in the 53. Jamie, I talked to you a little bit through the middle of the race there on one of the cautions, and I was asking if you could get up here and battle with these guys, and you kind of said, you didn't really have the truck maybe to get to P1 or P2 or P3. You kind of had a top 5 truck, though. You end the night P3. How does this feel going into the next race in playoff round of 12?
Oh, I'm happy with it. I had enough to hang right there with Nick, and I just couldn't send it off in the turn enough to get close. If I could have got to him, I would have, to quote Senior, rattled his cage a little bit happily, but
giving him a birthday present.
I didn't have enough confidence to dive it off in there and try to and see if I could mess with him and not kill myself at the same time. So I figured at the end of the day, just take the top couple finish and be happy with it and move on. So I mean that's the highest I'd ran all night. So I
I
can't
know I
complain.
asked you on the break, and Tyler B and I were kind of talking about it here. You were riding P2 when Jason came up behind you, and there was only a handful of laps left, and you kind of moved up track and let him go. What was the mindset of doing that with only a handful of laps to go? Was it, Tyler was saying, you're pretty much in the playoffs. You're gonna probably move to the next round if you have a good finish here and next week you have a decent finish, you'll probably still move on to the next round. Is that where the mindset was, or did you just think I'm gonna let Jason try to go get Nick?
No, honestly, what I was thinking, what I was hoping is that Jason might be able to run him down, and between the two of them battling, would pull me back in. Because once I had driven that hard, I knew once I started fading off of Nick, I knew I had nothing left for him by myself. But I thought maybe if they get to battling, maybe it'll pull me back in, and I can pull off some kind of last second miracle or something like that. But I'm not set up. I didn't have my stuff set up to run Dover that hard for that short a time. I can run 40, 50, 60 laps there all day and have plenty of tire left, but 20 laps full out, I can't. I'm not equipped to do that well.
Well, I know I told you on Facebook, but I'm going to tell you too. Happy belated birthday! Your birthday being a couple days ago. Now you're sitting here P3. Um, Tyler was saying, birthday guys racing for the win with you and Nick being first and second. So another top three for you. You haven't had that many this season, but it's a good way to start the playoffs. Hopefully, we'll see you here in the top three more consistently throughout the playoffs as the aggression number keeps getting ticked up higher and higher when it comes to elimination races next week, and then 2 weeks from then being the second round elimination race as well to go to the championship four. But I definitely agree with Tyler B with his stance of saying that Jason, and Jared are probably going to be the top four going to the championship. But you never know what can happen in any of these races. You could get knocked out in any one of them and have a very, very bad points night and get eliminated from the playoffs pretty easily, especially if you have two bad races in a row in one of these two race rounds. Obviously, tonight, P3, it's going to be a good start for you. We'll see what happens next week at Richmond.
Yes, sir. Definitely glad to saw out P3, but hopefully Richmond goes good. I'm usually pretty decent there, so another top five and it should be good.
Any shout outs for you in that P3 position, that 53 Chevy?
Yeah, always shout out to my wife and my two little girls and my buddies in SCR. And just thank everybody, you included, for making the league what it was. We've got 4 races left. Hope they're as eventful as this one was.
Well, hopefully you got that birthday present too that I was trying to wink at Nick for, but you got enough kids, so hopefully that doesn't happen there. But we'll come back next week for Richmond. Come back for the second race of the first round, and see who moves on to that second round of 8. Only 8 drivers moving on. 4 drivers were trying to get into the top 8, and a couple of them had some good races. James Ledford being one of them. Jeff No outside the top 10, so I don't know if that's going to help his position. Stan Kernathan had a decent race. But some other drivers, as we get closer and closer, the aggression is just going to get cranked up even higher when it comes to, who's going to give room, who's going to, make that dive down or cut the nose off, things like that. It's definitely going to come even more frequent as we get closer and closer to the championship 4. I think the next round is going to crank up the aggression way more than we'll see at this round. But it's going to be eventful for last couple races here in American League Racing before we close it down. Definitely excited to see what happens and see who that championship 4 is and who comes home away with the last championship in American Elite Racing for a while here.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to see it myself.
All right, we'll be back next week, Monday night. I'll fire it up at about 8 o'clock, 8:15, and we'll go into the second race of playoff round number 1 and see who can come away with a win at Richmond. Tomorrow night, Velocity Motorsports, 4th race of the season, and we'll see if you can come away with that one. Nick come home last week with a P2, but we'll see what happens next week with no shenanigans happening there. And I'll go live there about 7:30. Thursday, we'll go live with Repeat 1975 over there for the Spartan Challenge series, the truck series that runs on Thursday nights. We'll go live over there on repeats for iRock TV at about 9, I think is when we usually go live over there. So we'll catch you guys later on, and appreciate everybody out there in the chat and the viewers throughout the night, all the family members, and Special Ed out there rooting. A lot of different drivers. He had about 10 that he was rooting for at one time. So definitely appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thanks, buddy.